guys, and welcome back to Beyond the Whistle with me, Matty K. This podcast is now brought to you by GME Media, and every week I have my delightful Grace Wild with me. Hello, Grace.
Hello, Matty. How are you?
I'm very good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm all right. I'm all right.
Good weekend? Wrong time to ask you that, really, as you're taking a sip of your cup of tea there.
A decent weekend. Good weekend of football for sure.
Absolutely. Um, yeah, sure. I mean, if you've not seen this before, we are Beyond the Whistle, and what we do is we break each fixture down. We go in fixture order that Sky give us, and we just talk about the best bits, the worst bits, all the bits that you might have missed. If you've not followed us already, make sure you do that. You get told by all of your favourite content creators, including us. No Nickelback songs this week. We're going to keep it pretty light because West Ham are on tonight. So Grace
Oh,
wants to
nice.
jump off. But what did I want to? Oh, there was something I wanted to add on here, Grace, but I can't remember what it was. There was
Mm.
some. I think there was a question I had for you, but I can't remember. Should we jump into the first game?
Yes, we shall.
Yes, Brentford nil, Fulham nil. Look, I've not really got much to say on this one, to be honest. Not really what you want from an early kick-off, except for how good was Bert Leno.
Yeah, rare early kickoff stinker, to be fair. I was expecting at least a few goals in this one. And yeah, Bernd Leno was the difference in this for Fulham because I think Brentford would have possibly won 1 or 2-0 by the end of the second half had Bernd Leno not made. I mean, one of those stops is just outstanding. Did you see it?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It was phenomenal, wasn't
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it was quite a quiet one for Wilson. Wilson doesn't tend to have quiet ones, not as of late anyway, but this one did seem a little bit of a quiet one for him. I think Brentford will probably come away from it thinking they should have got 3 points, and Fulham will be happy with the point, to be honest.
it? Am I right in thinking right? I didn't notice this, and I don't know if it's just my app being funny. Did Brentford not make a substitution all game?
I don't know. Let
Whatever,
me fact
can
check.
you check on whatever app? They must have done surely, but can you check on whatever app you've got? Because this one's telling me that Brentford didn't make any subs. They must have done.
Uno momento, uno momento. No, it's telling me the exact same thing.
Really? I didn't
Yeah,
notice that.
I didn't even notice it.
That's a rarity.
Yeah, it is. Especially, yeah, especially when the game's not going your way.
Well, Keith Andrews did come out and say that he felt like his team should have won, and he's probably right in a certain way. Like he said, if it weren't for some phenomenal stops from the Fulham keeper, then yeah, they probably would have won 2 or 3 nil. But want to be.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's maybe a case of if it ain't broke, don't fix it type thing, where he felt like the game was going in the direction of they were going to get a winner, and that was fair enough, especially in the latter stages of the second half. And yeah, he just didn't feel the need to make any changes. So maybe wishes he had now, because it did end 0-0, and I think Brentford feel maybe a bit aggrieved because they should have had the 3 points.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty much all I've got to say on the game. There wasn't really much else to add, was it? Nil-nils are always a little bit hard to sort of talk about, but there really wasn't much else going on. So we jump straight into the next game: Leeds 3, Wolves nil. Are Leeds secure, Grace?
I'm fairly confident. I'm probably 80% sure they're safe now. I think they had a massive week last week. They managed to get themselves 3 points at Old Trafford. I know we didn't cover that on the pod because that was the Monday night kickoff. They managed to get themselves 3 points at Old Trafford, and then they got themselves another 3 points at the weekend. 6 out of 6 in that week. That probably keeps them in the Premier League. Um, I was expecting a larger scoreline, to be honest with you, considering they scored two fairly quickly. Um, I was expecting them to run away with it a little bit, to be honest. They ended up not running away with it. Still won 3-0. That's not that, you can't be upset with that. James Justin, overhead kick. Did you see this?
Yeah, phenomenal.
Yeah, phenomenal. Yeah, I couldn't say anything any different. He just timed it to perfection. It was sort of short distance, but it doesn't matter. Those things are hard to actually complete. Um, I think Leeds could have had one before then, easily, but uh, they're probably pleased with the 3-0. It was a fairly comfortable 3-0 win for them. I mean, Wolves definitely carried a threat. I don't know about you, but I thought Wolves had some great chances.
Genuinely, right? I know that even though there was talks of Wolves potentially being the worst team that we've ever seen, like people saying not even going to beat Derby's record. Wolves have been not unlucky this season because you have to have played bad to be where you are. But they've had a lot of games where I thought they've actually played really well, and maybe they don't deserve to be quite down, right down at the bottom as they are doing. And we've sort of seen there was a bit of a kick from Wolves with a couple of wins in the last few games. I think the international break sort of stumbled that form for them because they beat Villa and they beat Liverpool, didn't they? Yeah, and then lost the FA Cup to Liverpool, and the international break sort of disrupted that. But yeah, I think they've been a little bit unlucky this season. They've had some good games, and look, we talked back. We always mentioned about the Arsenal one where they should have won that if it weren't for the two own goals that they put in that they put in. So yeah, I don't know. It's hard with Wolves, isn't it? But I think we've already said I think they'll bounce back.
Yeah, I weirdly heard a rumor that Rob Edwards was actually in danger of losing his job. I really hope that's not the case because I think he's an excellent person to take down to the championship and come back up with. I think, yeah, Wolves have been a funny case because they started so poorly. And then as the season's gone on, it's almost like the pressure of them staying up was the reason they were playing so badly for a period. And now that there was, very little pressure than staying up because it was pretty much a foregone conclusion, they've just been playing better football. And I feel like they give everybody a decent game, but the end product's just not there, and it must be frustrating for Wolves fans.
Yeah, well, we spoke about this with Edwards. We said on his announcement of his appointment that this would be the contingency plan, that he would take them down and then bring them back up again. And that's sort of how we. I don't think Wolves were really expecting to stay up, bringing Edwards in. So that's a bit of an odd decision, but maybe they were. Maybe they were expecting him to turn things around and keep him up. But it was looking very, very unlikely at the time that they brought him in.
Yeah, absolutely. The damage had already been done, 100%. And I think he was just the type of appointment that you're not going to lose him because you go down. You're not going to sack him because you go down because it wasn't his fault type thing. It just made sense, didn't it? I mean, it was maybe a bit of a defeatist attitude, but like you said, at that point, I think we all said, "Oh, this is really not a good Wolves side," and he's actually turned them around a bit. I know the points don't necessarily suggest that, but I don't think they're that easy to play against, if I'm honest.
Well, I'm sure that Wolves fans will be looking forward to the next game because it's a guaranteed 3 points as you play in Tottenham, aren't you? So, um, yeah, I mean, is there anything else that you want to add to this game, Chris?
No, I don't think so. I think Leeds fans will feel, they'll have a sigh of relief going into this week because what's it, 5 games to go for them, and I think they found themselves safe.
Yeah, I mean, it could be at the risk of either Tottenham or West Ham, but it is kind of good to see a little bit of change rather than the usual three going down and coming up again. But yeah, should we jump into Newcastle 1, Bournemouth 2? What is going wrong with Newcastle, Chris?
I as the weeks go on, I'm more and more convinced that it's a case of they need just a change of pace. They need a change of ideas. I think I think they're on this downward spiral a little bit because I feel like there's a lack of belief in Eddie Howe. There's a lot of rumours of the likes of Tonali leaving, which is a massive thing for them because they're trying to build the foundational blocks of a top six side, but they don't. By losing someone like Tonali, he is an important part of that. He was a big transfer that I think could do really, really well, and has shown his quality before. But I just feel like they just need something new. I really do. I think they just need something new, and they need to just keep pushing, try and hold on to as many as they can. But yeah, I just don't see that. I don't know about you, but I don't see Eddie Howe having much more of a future with Newcastle.
No, there's been a lot of people calling for it already, and maybe that is what they need. I can't remember how long he's been there. Did he take over from Steve Bruce when the takeover came in? It's been a while, hasn't it?
Do you know what? For modern day football, he's been there a while.
Yeah, maybe it is just like you said, a bit of fresh ideas, a little bit of change. It can go well. I say it can go a long way. I haven't really gone very far with Tottenham. We've changed 3 times this season.
Too many times though.
But yeah, but yeah, look, maybe you are right, and it does need freshening up a little bit. I think if I'm right as well, this season, I think Newcastle can be a bit freer with financial fair play. So maybe it is a good time to bring in a new manager, or do you stick with it? How do you think? Well, actually, he knows this club. He knows what the team needs. It's going to be a very interesting summer for Newcastle.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting. None of us know, unless you are attached to Newcastle in a sort of quite personal level, what the mood of the club is like. I think that probably says a lot. If they've sort of started to look for a replacement, the head's not in Eddie Howe anymore. But it could be that all the faith is still with Eddie Howe and they don't want the change. So you just never know. But what it looks like from the outside looking in is that they just need something fresh. They just need some new ideas. And they need to just go again with potentially a different ideology, potentially. I think it'd be great if they could attract the manager, and I'm not saying this is the case, but attract a manager like Iriola. I think Iriola would be a great type, like Villa attracted Emery. That type of manager that you feel like there's some potential there. You feel like there's some progress that can be made. Um, yeah, it feels like a tough one because nothing dramatic's happened at Newcastle, other than maybe you could say the Isak situation of him leaving. That definitely had an impact, but it just yeah, I don't really fear playing Newcastle in a couple of weeks, if I'm honest.
Well, there's talks of Newcastle wanting to get rid of Vista already as well. Um, on the flip side of this, though, Bournemouth, they've been an absolute run. 13 games unbeaten now. And we sort of spoke about this last week, didn't we, about the possibility of Iriola leaving Bournemouth. And then I think, was it the night of the recording or the next day, it was announced that he would leave?
Yeah, it didn't come as a shock to us because, like you said, we spoke about it. But I was worried that it would then have a negative impression on their confidence on the football that they played, but it obviously didn't because look, St James's Park, whether Newcastle are good or bad, is still a tough place to go because of the type of place that it is, similar to Ellen Road. It's not an easy place to go. Um, and yeah, it seems like yes, he's making the decision to leave, but it doesn't feel like there's much malice behind it. It feels like it's quite um what's the word? What's the word when
Seems a little bit neutral.
yeah, yeah, it feels like a mutual parting of ways, and an understanding that he has the potential to go on and do great things. It'll just be very interesting who Bournemouth bring in. I think they're heavily linked with somebody already.
Yeah, I can't remember. I should have wrote that down because I think literally the day after he announced he was leaving, Bournemouth were already working on a replacement, which like doesn't surprise me because these sort of like clubs like your Bournemouths and your Brightons and stuff like that, they have a very good contingency plan, which is why they are quite successful in what they do. Okay, they're not winning trophies, but they're always solid, and they always have a decent solid squad as well. But yeah, I think he'll well maybe the United job and stuff like that, but we'll get on to that. There's a lot of places that you can go. Anything else you want to
Yeah.
add to this game, Chris?
I really liked Sula's goal. I think he's gone under the radar a little bit this season, particularly with the likes of Vissa and Voltemada underperforming. I think Osula's sort of stepped into that position quite nicely. It was a really nice run, lovely footwork, and he just showed great strength. It's the type of thing that I like to see from a striker. I thought that was a good goal. And then I think, to be honest with you, the Bournemouth winner just showed defensive mistakes. You always want to give the credit to the attacking team, but when it's so obvious that there's defensive mistakes, you can't help but point them out. And I do feel like there was, it felt like chaos in that Newcastle back line when Bournemouth scored the winner. So yeah, it's a tough one, isn't it? But all credit to Bournemouth.
Yeah, absolutely. Who are they playing next? Actually, Bournemouth. Who have they got? Are they playing twice this week? Oh, they've got Leeds. Oh, that'll be an interesting game.
Will
Uh,
be.
On the 22nd, that's Wednesday. Uh, yeah, Leeds Bournemouth. Yeah, that'll be
Ooh.
interesting. Next one we've got. It's that time of week again, Grace. Tottenham 2, Brighton 2. Do you know what? Right, did you watch this game?
I did watch this game, yeah.
So you might. I mean, I've seen the highlights. I was driving back. I was in your neck of the woods this weekend, and I was driving back from Oxford. Yeah, so I was listening to it on the radio. I think I've seen the highlights, I've seen the goals, but on the radio it sounded quite positive, and Spurs actually looked all right, Grace.
They did look all right. They looked quite infused, and I think I put that down to the inclusion of Xavi Simons, if I'm honest with you. I think he had the Somerville effect, which was he influenced positive play. He was really, on the front foot, wanted the ball. And he actually looked gutted at the end when you conceded. So for me, I know you put it in our pre-podcast notes. He has to start. I'm on the same page. I don't really understand how he could be dropped now.
Well, right, Tottenham have been struggling for creativity. Play creative players. It's not rocket science, is it? Do you know what I mean? Like how I don't. The way I see it, Frank. I don't think when was he brought in? Was he brought in under Ange? No, he wasn't. Was he? Was he brought in under
Was
Ange?
that Simmons?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can't remember.
No, he
Yeah.
wasn't. No.
No, sorry, no. So Frank didn't. Frank didn't really play him that much. Tudor didn't play him that much, and I know Deserby's only been there for 2 games, but obviously he didn't play the first game either. They must be seeing something in training that maybe is lacking a bit or is not putting in his full effort or something like that. Because, like I say, if you're struggling for creativity, play creative players, and he's creative. And look what he did when he was on the pitch. And look, don't get me wrong, I think he was pivotal to both of them goals. But he also did cost us 2 goals as well in terms of I think there was that one just after we scored, he hit the post, didn't he? That look, as a striker, I fully understand why he's decided to shoot from there. But if you look back at it and you can square it to Moana, who had a pretty much an open goal, I still won't trust that donkey with an open goal anyway. But yeah, and then I think there was later on in the game, just after Brighton equalised, we had a chance to make it 3-2, and it should have been played out to the left. Someone was waiting out on that left hand side. I can't remember who it was, and Xavi got into Bergval's way. I understand that he's trying to sort of prove why he should be on the pitch and stuff, but he'd done enough. But look, yeah, it's hard to say because in the heat of the moment, these things happen. Can we just take a minute though to talk about that Matoma goal?
Oh my God. I mean, it just made me I mean, it did make me happy. There's no doubt a Brighton goal did make me happy because we're in the thick of a relegation battle and I did need Brighton to pick something up here. Um, I mean, he was unmarked to the back post pretty much. But the ball in was lovely, I think, if I remember rightly. I'm pretty sure the ball in was lovely. And he just hit it. Oh, it was a sweet spot. Do you know what I mean? It was just divine. That finish, and I don't know about you, but that just screams Matoma to me.
Well, see, again though, this is the thing. I say Tottenham played well and stuff. I do think they should have won this game really. Like Kinski, by the way, has been unbelievable for me. From when what happened in the Champions League happened, I think we both sort of said he's never playing football again. Like not for Tottenham anyway. I think that was sort of his Premier League career done, and we've seen it happen before with the Liverpool goalkeeper. Remind me.
What, the current one?
No, the one who was on in the Champions League final, dropped the ball. You must remember. Oh, what was his name? It doesn't
When
matter.
was this? When was it?
The Liverpool goalkeeper who dropped the ball in the Champions League final, he let it slip through his hands.
Was it Keller?
Carrius?
No, Carrius. It was Carrius.
Carrius.
Yeah, and now it rings a bell.
We saw it happen with him, and he sort of like his career took a dive after that. And it would have been a shame for this to happen with Kinski, but for him to have performed, yeah, okay, look, he's conceded 3 goals still, but the way he's all 3 goals were brilliant goals in terms of the two Brighton ones were decent. Okay, Danzo should have cleared that away, which I know you've got something else to bring up about that in a minute. And the other goal was decent that he conceded as well, but he commands the box a lot better than what Vicario does. But yeah, that sort of Matoma goal, no keeper stopping that. It was an absolute finish.
And I just think actually and I'll be honest with you, we saw it at West Ham. Ollie Scholes made a mistake this season at left back. Obviously, an academy player came through, played, made a mistake, and it meant Fulham beat us. Right? He was the one that made a mistake, and someone scored from that. I think it's Jimenez, but somehow he managed to turn that round, and he's been brilliant in other performances. And we really put it down to that it's fine to make a mistake, just don't make it again type situation. And I think that's a similar thing. I think Kinski was almost at his lowest, so it couldn't really get any worse. So he's just got to go out there and prove himself. Do you know what I mean? And I think he absolutely has done. I really do. I think he's been very, very good. You've had goalkeeper trouble all season, let's be honest. And actually, I think he's been a little bit of a breath of fresh air.
Absolutely. Do you want to cover this Danzo story?
Yeah, and we don't like to cover nasty stories on here, do we? But it just annoys me. So Kevin Danzo obviously made the mistake leading to the Brighton equaliser. You know, I personally like Kevin Danzo, and I'm pretty sure you're a fan of Kevin Danzo. I actually really like him as a player. I don't think he's one of those players that I would put down saying he's not putting enough effort in and being lazy. I would say he's actually put quite a lot of effort in the season when I've seen him. Sadly, that's led to him getting racist abuse, which is just ridiculous. And it's just ridiculous. I don't know how we have to continue having these conversations and saying it's not right anymore. Do you know what I mean? It just winds me up. I think we've had it multiple times this season. And it's all over social media. That's where it's coming from. And it just winds me up that social media companies and all this sort of stuff just don't do anything about it. Because these people, they should have their IP addresses just blocked from these websites. Do you know what I mean? It's just it really annoys me, and I hope Danzo. You can't shrug that off, can you? But I hope he is okay. Is all I can say because it's just horrendous.
Yeah, see, the thing is, right, you pay your money to attend these games or to watch it on TV or whatever. You have a right you have a right to cheer, you have a right to boo, you have a right to to jeer the team if you want, but you can't cross the line of criminality. You
Mm.
if you are racially abusing someone, it's a criminal offence. It's that simple. Why are we still living in a world where we're still racially abusing people? It is actually mind-boggling. How many times have we sat down on this podcast and said, "Stop throwing bottles at buses, stop doing this, stop." It like okay, it's not our job to lecture you, but we shouldn't have to be saying this stuff anyway. We're here to talk about football, not the political side of it, because that shouldn't be happening anyway.
100%. And I think, like I said about the social media stuff, it just why is it that a criminal act like that just goes under the radar when it's through a screen? Do you know what I mean? It blows my mind. And my dad has been fairly successful in the IT business, so that's his thing. He's turned to me multiple times and said, "There's ways that they can stop it. There's ways they can stop it. They just don't want to." And it is just horrendous that you almost know that there are ways around it. There's ways they can really knuckle down on it. And it feels wrong that there's footballers and other people, not even just football, but other individuals suffering because these big companies just won't do anything about it. It really frustrates me. And look, I'm not comparing it to racist abuse, but I get my own abuse that you can complain to these social media places all the time. Nothing gets done about it because it doesn't go against their I don't know, community guidelines or whatever it is. Well, it obviously does. It's obviously crossing a line and you're not doing anything about it.
No, but the two things I'll say on that is I've seen some of the stuff that you get in your lives, by the way, and how you stay so composed is beyond me because I just want to. I know you literally you block them straight away and it infuriates me because I really want to rip into them. I know you can't do it because that is what they want. That's what they want to do. But you handle it so well. You just block, done, move on. Whereas I'm like, no, Grace, like unblock them, let me have a go. But yeah, I can't. And the other thing I'd say is where is quite good, and it is like look, Danzo made a mistake, and I'm a Tottenham fan, right? And that could cost us. That could genuinely relegate Tottenham. Uh, Not one thought in my mind came to me. I'm going to then start throwing this abuse at him because that shouldn't be in your
Mhm.
head anyway. I don't understand. Like, if that is the first thing that came to your head was it's because of the colour of his skin, go seek medical help because there's obviously something wrong in your brain for you to even think of that to come into your head. And finally, where you don't really see this sort of stuff is on Finalysis, which me and Grace are now a part of. Well, I say I'm now a part of. You've been a part of it from day one. But if you want to head over to there, you can follow Grace on West Ham and me on Tottenham. And I've just been promoted. So yeah. Should we jump into
That the reason why it's a safe space for fans and it's a safe space is because it doesn't let you put certain words on the platform. It denies you that ability to put certain words on there. And that's why it's a safe space. That's why it's a good footballing community who just talk about football. They don't go into the personals. I'm not joking. I've been on it since it started, and that was the beginning of this season. I have never seen any form of abuse on there. Never. And I use it every week.
well, you also don't really see it because I can't interact with you on there. You can only interact with people that are fans of your club. So you sign up to your club, and that is the only club that you can interact with. It's really, really good for taking that negativity away. Just, I don't know if you've got the answer to this, and we are going to move on in a second. If Tottenham were to be relegated, does Tottenham get removed from the Finalysis page?
I don't know if I can answer that.
I I
Sorry.
would I would imagine that they would because it's supposed to be Premier League, but then the Michael McIntyre who backs it is a Tottenham fan, so he might leave him on there. And we'll never know. Chelsea nil, Man United one. Chelsea nil, Man United one. Grace, will Liam be the manager next season?
I can see him starting the season. I certainly can't see him ending the season. I don't know whether they're gonna change him before the end of the season. I feel like they're gonna be stubborn. I don't know. I've just got a feeling that they're not because of the way in which they employed him, which was that sort of carousel type thing onto the Chelsea job. It was one of those businessy type things. I feel like they won't give into it and sack him really easily. um, but I'll be honest with you, I think we've said this from day dot. It didn't feel right when it happened. It felt like it was too early, and I can't see it being the long-term solution.
Sorry
Go
to
on.
sorry to interrupt. You know that I like my live updates. We have a live update for you. Marco Rose agrees 3-year deal as Bournemouth manager when Ariola leaves at the end of the season. Live breaking news on Beyond the Whistle. God, we are good, Grace, aren't we?
That's good. But can I just say, I nearly said right. I didn't back myself
Oh,
earlier because I said they're heavily associated or they're heavily linked to a manager already. And in my head, I went Marco Rose, but I wasn't 100% certain, so I didn't say it. But how good would I have looked now?
do you want to say it now? And magic of edit, we'll put it in somewhere. um,
So
what Marco Rose? Where's he from? I don't really know much about him.
I don't either, to be honest with you. I just saw that he was heavily linked.
Okay, sorry. Carry on anyway with your Chelsea.
Oh, I've dropped my pen. Hang on. Oh, yeah, Chelsea. What are we talking about? Liam Rossini. That's who we're talking about. Oh,
Of
go
course,
on.
it's RB Leipzig's manager.
Oh, I knew the name. Oh well, there you go. That's for a podcast where just before next season because that's when he's going to sign it. So yeah, cool. Right, Liam Rossini. Yeah, I think he is not in the long term plans of Chelsea, but I feel because of the way in which he was employed, the Chelsea board won't just go, let's just sack him. Do you see what I mean? Because it sort of makes a fool of their business idea.
Well, you see, this is what we were saying earlier about Bournemouth and the contingency plans. And Bournemouth box clever. They are a clever club. They know what they're doing. They've given a manager who has not got any Premier League experience a 3-year deal. They haven't just slapped a 7-year contract on the table and say go with it. Do you know what I mean? This is how Chelsea are not financially ruined by what they have to do with managers is beyond me. But yeah, do you know what? I think when I asked this question, I was thinking in my head, did we talk about this last week? Because this does seem to be coming up every week now. I think we sort of said maybe January for Liam.
Yeah.
But yeah, look, we'll have to wait and see. It'll be an interesting summer for Chelsea, especially if they do miss out on Champions League. What do Man United need to do in the summer, Chris?
Oh, I wasn't expecting that question. Oh, I am not going to breach that topic until I know who the manager is. I do want to give Man United, I do want to talk about Man United because I want to give them credit for Saturday night because I thought they went into that game. I don't know whether you caught the game, any of the coverage of it.
I was walking around Sheffield at that point.
And there you go. I was a sad muppet sat on my sofa on a Saturday night. I have to say, I was very impressed considering they had all four of their centre backs or senior centre backs out. So they did a makeshift back line. And I tell you what, I watch their structure off the ball sometimes, and it was flawless at points. It was really lovely. You've disappeared.
It's okay, I'm back. Sorry, it's like a genuine greenhouse in here. But the way that this works now is if you're as long as you're talking, people can't see me. So you just carry on, and it's all going to be okay.
Couldn't help it. I was just like, and he's walked away.
I was listening to you, but I had to open a window because I'm genuinely dying in here. It's like a greenhouse. We've actually got a
Fair
bit of
enough.
sun for a change.
Yeah, no, isn't it funny?
I put
Um,
I put the fan on, but I don't know if you'd be able to hear it. So don't
no,
matter.
I can't hear it. Can't hear it. You're all good.
Yeah, you won't
Uh,
be where it's turned off.
oh, right. I see what you mean. I am so off it today, honestly. Anyway, back on to Man United. No, I think Carrick has got them really well organised. And it was lovely because there was the odd mistake in that back line that was natural given, the lack of experience, the positional changes, all that sort of thing. But I felt like the rest of the team of the 11 understood that and they compensated. And yes, I think had Chelsea had their shooting boots and weren't in the situation where they're just not scoring goals at the moment, it seems, they may have had more of a problem. But you can only play what's in front of you. And I thought they dealt with Stamford Bridge on a Saturday night really, really well.
Well, you say that this about the shooting boots and stuff like that, but this is the fourth game or fourth Premier League game now where Chelsea have failed to score. What's going on with this sort of situation? I mean, yeah, okay, they put two past PSG and they put seven, was it past Plymouth, I think, but I mean,
Port Vale.
Port Vale, sorry, yeah. But what's this like sort of not case, but do you know what I mean? What's got going on in the Premier League?
I don't know. It could be a lack of confidence. I mean, they've got the players, haven't they? I think it's tragic when you look at someone like Liam Delap, who really tore it up for Ipswich in many ways. That he was a man of lots of interest when Ipswich went down, and there was a reason for it. He was important to everything they did, that you could deem positive, and it just makes me sad because again, I bring it up pretty much every podcast. There are some players who can't deal with being a big fish in a big pond. They need to be a big fish in a small pond, and I don't see Liam Delap staying at Chelsea for very long. And I think that's half Chelsea's problem is I feel like it's just a constant conveyor belt of players that, okay, this one's not worked out, let's sell them. This one hasn't worked out, okay, let's buy someone new. Do you know what I mean? It feels like there's very rarely any consistency with Chelsea. João Pedro was out for this one, which is naturally an issue because I think he's possibly their best attacker in many ways. I really like him as a player. Um, but Cole Palmer's off the boil. They just dare I say it, a lot of them look a bit disinterested.
Yeah, well, you say off the boil, I say overrated, but there we go. Anything else that you anything else you wanna add to this game?
Christ, after that clanger, no. Um, no, I don't think so. I think it was an excellent 3 points for Man United. They are slowly creeping towards that Champions League um, qualification. And do you know what? Fair play to them. I really enjoyed Man United as a unit on Saturday night. I really did because I don't feel like I've been able to say that for a while. And I loved the teamwork. I loved it. They knew that there was a weakness. I really enjoyed the teamwork.
Yeah, well, you say creeping towards it, but I think I'm right in saying that Champions League is five places for England this year.
Yes,
That
it is.
that has been confirmed, and Man United are sitting third, 10 points ahead of Chelsea. So I'd say that it's pretty much a given.
Yeah, it's done. Yeah, yeah. I didn't want to say that without the mathematical backing, and I wasn't 100% sure, but I was pretty certain after that win that they are sitting fairly comfortably behind the two going for the title at the moment.
Yeah, well, from two teams that was low scoring to two teams that probably couldn't really defend very well. Aston Villa 4, Sunderland 3. And do you know what? I say they couldn't defend very well. Some of the goals in this game were unbelievable.
I just this game just like I was annoyed really because I think I predicted that Villa would win this 3-1. And there was a point where it was fairly comfortably 3-1. And I was almost annoyed at that moment of madness from Villa because I thought, oh, I'd have been right. Um,
Well, sorry, am I right in thinking that you live streamed these games as well, the 2 o'clock games?
I do tend to live stream the 2 o'clock games on TikTok. Yes.
Yeah, I thought I'd seen that. I was out at the time, but I'd seen that you was live streaming something because I think I heard somewhere as well you was watching the Liverpool Everton. And I'm sure you said to somebody, "I'm not interested in the Villa Sunderland game." And then I saw the results coming through, and I thought she must have switched at some point, and she had to have switched. But yeah, but you didn't.
Didn't because I was so intrigued. Like, let's be honest, the Merseyside derby was on a knife edge. Like, literally, that could have gone either way. And I was so praying that Burnley would get some goals. and I just couldn't tear away from it. I was like, no, I can't lose the faith. So I just I felt like I I should have. There's no doubt I should have, but I just felt that that was Villa Sunderland was one of those games that one of the few games this game week that didn't have that big of an impact for me or for the, I'm really interested in the title race. I'm obviously really interested in the relegation battle. All of the European compact, I mean, that's excellent. Don't get me wrong, and I can't wait to enjoy it. Hopefully, when West Ham are safe. But I just there was so much else going on that I felt like the Merseyside derby was the Merseyside derby, and I just couldn't turn it off. And yeah, it was just 7 goals, 7 goals in this game.
Yeah, well, if you want to watch Grace do her live TikToks, it's a really good community over there. Grace Wild Football. Go follow her. Hit the notification bell as well, because you'll get little notifications when Grace does go live. And usually I'm dotted around in the chat somewhere as well, just being my genuinely charming self. Grace, why are you laughing at that? I'm only messing.
I didn't laugh. What are you talking about?
Well, let's talk about the Villa Sunderland game first before we jump into the rest. But oh yeah, Villa absolutely ran away with it to start off with, and then it was a bit of a 1 minute meltdown for Villa.
Yeah, which I didn't understand. I thought Sunderland were always, and like I said, I didn't watch this, but in terms of highlights, in terms of following the game, in terms of notifications, I felt like Sunderland were always in it. I felt like they always had like some sort of a grasp on this game. Whether it was loose at some points is a different conversation, but they were still in it. Rather than the Burnley game, which I felt Forest ran away with it and were fairly comfortable. Yeah, I mean Watkins scored a brace. A Rig. I mean, did you see Riggs' goal for Sunderland that made it 1-1? That was an excellent strike. He had far too much time on the ball, if you ask me. He was able to prepare that and make a cup of tea. Do you know what I mean? It was pretty ridiculous. Then Rogers made it 3-1, I believe, just after the break. And that was a lovely team goal. Then, like you say, it was a moment of madness because it was 3-2 Hume. The angle for that Hume goal was disgraceful. When I watched the highlights, I'm thinking he's going to square this. No, went for it and absolutely battered the back of the net. And fair play to him. What an angle! And then it was 3-3 by Isidore. And this was just Villa cut open essentially. Enzo Lefebvre, who I think we're all aware can put an absolute peach of a ball in, he did. He just split him open, and Isidore was sort of quick enough, smart enough, strong enough to get himself in front, and then it was just a simple finish. And then finally, 4-3 Villa is how it ended because Tammy Abraham, proper strikers finish to be fair. Um, but it is worth mentioning that Sunderland had a great opportunity before that fourth goal went in.
Unbelievable save.
Yeah, I think decision making from who was it? Was it Isidore?
I believe so. But I don't know.
Yeah.
I know. I think I know what you're going to say here. I think you're going to say maybe you should have put it around the keeper or whatever. I can see why he's done it, but Martinez has read that so well.
Mm. And this is what I know Martinez maybe doesn't get as much credit as he used to get. Heading into the last World Cup, he was sorry, the last Euros, he was sort of seen as one of the best goalkeepers in the world. Um, he maybe doesn't get that level of credit anymore, but I think that's one thing we've always credited him with was his read on the game. And I think that was a demonstration of it.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah. It's the classic. It's as good as a goal. Do you know what I mean? That save is as good as a goal.
Yeah, yeah. And in terms of this game, I mean, this is what frustrates me about football in many ways because you can have this Villa have walked away with the same points, and Sunderland have walked away with the same points, as if this was just 1-0 to Villa. And you think the emotional rollercoaster that was this game in being ending up 4-3 Villa, it just yeah. Sometimes you think when you lose 4-3, you just think, oh God, Sunderland fans must be thinking, God, we put so much into that just for nothing type thing. You expect at least a draw after you come back like that. But yeah, I mean, it was a big result for Villa in the end.
Absolutely. These 2 o'clock games, I had a little bet on at the weekend, and it came in. I won about 200 quid, I think it was. But every game had something going on. So I think obviously I had Villa to win, and then Sunderland came back. I had Liverpool to win, and that was on a knife edge throughout the entire game. I had Forest to win, and obviously Burnley went 1-0 up. I had Man City to win, and that was quite nervy as it was. And I also had Bayern Munich to win, and they went 1-0 down. They did come back to win 4-1, which I wanted to mention because Bayern Munich have now won the Bundesliga. Harry Kane with his second league title. And I know that we've both got a little bit of a soft spot for Bayern Munich, so I wanted just to mention that. Congratulations to them, and congratulations to Harry Kane because I love him. But yeah, should we move into Everton 1, Liverpool 2?
Yeah, absolutely. The Merseyside derby, the first one at Hill Dickinson. Um, Go on. Thought you were going to say something else.
I was going to say, I put a bet on it, but if you are going to do it, please gamble responsibly. Got to say that for legal reasons.
Love it. Yeah, please gamble responsibly. Um, this was one I actually fancied Everton, I'll be honest. I went into this thinking Everton are going to be up for it, and we know how up and down Liverpool have been this season. Good God. Um, but actually, I mean, look, Everton started strong. I watched this one the whole way through. Everton started strong, started with intent. They understood that they really wanted this. They really wanted this over Liverpool, especially the new stadium and all that sort of stuff. You get it. Um, but I felt like Everton had a disallowed goal, and it was offside, but it felt like the turning point in that game because very, very shortly after, Salah slotted it home to make it 1-0. And it was a defensive error as well. I don't know, it just felt like it was a punch to Everton and then a punch again and then a punch again. Do you know what I mean? It was like not only was it disallowed goal, Salah's gone up the other end, and it was because of a defensive mistake. It just I felt like it was beaten out of them a little bit. They did come back into it. Beto, I mean, Dewsbury Hall assist. I can't rave about Dewsbury Hall enough. I really like him. Felt like a proper Beto finish. I mean, Robertson for me was wrong side, but it was a Beto finish. That's what I come to expect of Beto. And then in the final, what was it, 100th minute or something, Van Dijk from a corner does what Van Dijk does at a corner, headed it home to make Liverpool the winners 2-1.
Yeah, it's again. I say breaking news. I think it came out about 20 minutes before we started recording, so I don't know if you've seen it, but Mohamed Ashrafili was injured during that game, and he's now reportedly out for 2 to 4 weeks. So yeah,
Oh,
bit of a blow for Liverpool. What's the situation with Alisson? Is he long term injured?
I thought it was long-term injured. I didn't think it was end of the season injured.
Hmm.
Um, but I heard that Mamadashvili's injury was an open wound, and that's why he went to hospital rather than a structural issue. But it
To be
it must
honest,
be something.
I just saw the headline. I didn't really click on the article, but it came up to say that he'll be out for 2 to 4 weeks. So not quite season ending, but um, yeah, he's gonna miss probably 2 games, I reckon. Yeah, well, I was going to ask you, will Liverpool finish in Champions League spots? But then when we was talking about the Man United situation, Liverpool are on 55, Chelsea are on 48. So it's not over, but the top five do sort of feel pretty cemented, right?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think I'd like there to be a flurry at the end of the season where you go, "Ooh, who's going to finish?" I actually think they're one of the only solidified spaces really in the league at the moment because all the other European spots just below them are all fighting between each other, and that's all very, very close. I mean, if you look at the league table, that is unbelievably close.
There's 3 points separating 6 and 12.
Oh,
And
love it.
Chelsea are leading that with 48 points, and then you've got Brentford, Bournemouth, Brighton, Everton, Sunderland, and Fulham within that. But honestly, Brentford and Bournemouth both sit on 48 points alongside Chelsea. I could see both of them finishing higher than Chelsea.
Based on where Chelsea are currently form wise, and based on where those two are form wise, I don't think that's a bad prediction because I think Chelsea just feel a bit down and out. They look a bit on the beach already, dare I say it. Not when they've not really solidified anything.
Well, they've still got Brighton to play, which are one of the most informed teams in the league right now. They've still got to contend with Leeds in the FA Cup. They've got Forest who are fighting for relegation. Well, I'll say fighting for relegation. We'll get on to that in a minute, but they're still fighting for to avoid relegation. They're playing Liverpool at Anfield. They've still got to play Tottenham, so that's 3 points for Chelsea, and then Sunderland on the final day. So yeah, look, it's a tough fixture for Chelsea. That
Yeah, and I don't think anyone's going to be able to predict right now how that sixth to 12th is going to end up because it really could change so quickly. Um, I I would like to see the likes of Everton, Brentford and Bournemouth for me deserve it. They deserve that European football. It'd be a nice thing for Areola to leave Bournemouth with, and it would be nice for Keith Andrews in his first season where lots of people doubted him and tipped Brentford to go down. It'd be lovely for him to have European football with Brentford. Um, yeah, that's going to be a very interesting one. But Liverpool, Liverpool looked all right. Liverpool looked all right, to be honest with you, in the Merseyside derby. I thought they dealt with it quite well.
You see, I know we've spoke about this in previous podcasts, so you can go back and listen to them. But when it comes to the slot debate, whether he should stay on next season or not, look, Liverpool haven't hit the expectations that Liverpool fans were wanting this year in terms of winning the league. And yes, you spent a lot of money in the summer, but you've also had injuries. To
Mm.
finish inside the Champions League spots, you can't knock it, really, can you, Grace?
Especially with the emotional stuff that happened, and I won't go into it because it's very,
It
very
feels
sad.
like it's been that long of a season. I forgot that that was still attached to this season.
Yeah, I know. This season has felt unbelievably stretched out and long. I can't describe it, but I genuinely feel like us getting battered on the opening day of the season against Sunderland away just feels like 3 years ago.
Yeah, absolutely. We are going to move on in a minute. I just wanted your opinion on one last thing, and sorry to go back to them, but Tottenham have actually agreed verbal contracts with Andy Robertson, uh, Alex Scott, and there's a third one as well. I can't remember
Christ,
who it
doing
was.
a lot of business for being in the Championship next
Well,
year.
this is it. So all three ride on if we stay up or not. There's a third one as well, but I can't remember who that was. I am going to try and find it. But yeah, Robertson, Scott, and a third player. What is your thoughts on that?
I don't think there's any harm in it really, but I think that feels very optimistic for the current situation of Tottenham Hotspur. That's what I would say. Is it just there's no harm in it. I think it's just over planning for something they're really not sure about the future at the moment.
Marcus Senesi was the third one.
Oh, Christ, there's some names in there to be fair.
Absolutely. Look, it all does ride on obviously if we stay up or not. If we do get relegated, none of them are coming to us, so it's irrelevant. And there's also talks of Bergvall apparently being weighed up by Arsenal and Chelsea. Anyway, moving on
Okay.
to Forest 4, Burnley 1. Well, I saw Burnley go 1-0 up here, and I thought we need this. This could be
Mm.
like really, really good for both Tottenham and West Ham. And then Morgan Gibbs White just went nope and just ran the show from there on out. And that is literally my summary of the game.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, he was just phenomenal, wasn't he? I mean, and all of his goals were really good as well. I have to say. I mean, I think the third one topped it off. To be honest, I mean, the first and the second one are great, but that third header. I mean, Yates came on, and I've got a soft spot for Yates. I think he's a proper Mark Noble type, but for Forest. He came on and he got the assist pretty much straight away. And that header from Gibbs White was just phenomenal.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's literally not really much else to say. He just literally ran the show for Forest, and that was it. I mean, I'm not going to spoil it, but player of the week territory. Do you know what I mean? It
Oh,
was just yeah, and I think Forest are now 5 points clear. I texted you, I think, the other day saying if Palace somehow managed to beat West Ham tonight, I think we could stay up. I do think it now just come down to between me and you because I think Forest have found a little bit of form. They seem to be fighting a little bit better. So are West Ham, to be fair. But yeah, I think West Ham being now 5 points clear of Tottenham is a okay for Forest. I think they can just breathe a little bit. It's not over, but they can breathe a little bit.
yeah, I think they need to be careful because this was a game that they would have definitely had down as being a guaranteed 3 points. And they have got Villa in the next round in Europe, which is a lot because they will want that year. I mean, you understand that yearning for a European trophy. When you're in that position, it doesn't matter who you play, you want to get through to that final. So that is going to take its toll. I can't say Leeds, I'm fairly convinced about. I can't say I'm feeling that convinced about Forest at the moment. I think particularly if we get points tonight, I think it potentially drags them a little bit closer to the action again. I'm not saying we will get 3 points tonight. I mean, watch this space. Who knows what's going to happen tonight? I'm absolutely shitting it. Um, but I I think the positivity, it helps when you have a player like Morgan Gibbs White who can take the game by the scruff of the neck and just win it for you, essentially. Um, I would like to just mention Fleming for Burnley. I actually quite like Fleming. I could see him getting a move away, to be honest with you, this summer.
I think there'll be one or two Burnley players that have earned a move. I mean, they've not lit the league up, have they? But they've not done badly, like in terms of like showing wise. They've done badly in terms of league form, but the players on the pitch have done enough to earn a move, even if it's to a lower league side of the Premier League.
Yeah, I think so. I just like Fleming's composure, particularly. I think he takes his goals really well. I think he's a constant threat, and I just think he's a threat in all sorts of ways. You know, he's an aerial threat. He's good with his feet. There's lots of different. He'll run in behind. There's loads of different ways for me that Fleming is a threat. So yeah, I totally agree. I think he could get a move.
Uh, we're going to ask your prediction for the Palace West Ham game in a minute, but when we was talking about the points that separate 6 to 12, if Palace do win tonight, they also add themselves into that mix. They will join Fulham on 45 points, so that will be then 6 to 13th. That are all separated by 3 points.
I am heavily hoping that Palace are still hungover.
Well, we're going to get onto that when we ask you for a prediction. Should we jump into our final game, the title decider? Have we all got our bottles at the ready? Man City 2, Arsenal 1. I actually said, I've written down in the notes tonight, I don't want to, I've got no notes for this. I wanted to go off script. I just wanted to talk about the game because I actually did sit down and watch this in its entirety. Unbelievable game. This is not what I thought it was going to be. I thought Arsenal were going to go super low block. I thought it was going to be a boring 1-0. Arsenal might nick it from a corner, but it was an entertaining game, right?
It was a thriller, had everything. The only thing it didn't have, which it probably should have had, but we'll get onto this, is a red card. I mean, what a game this was. This was classic Barclays. Do you know what I mean? It had quality, it had defensive mistakes, it had lots of I even though I'm going to complain about the fact that Gabriel didn't get a red card, I loved that contest between him and Haaland. That felt proper. It felt like actually, as much as I didn't like some of the officiating decisions, the ability to let that one go a little bit felt right. It felt really right in this game because they were at each other constantly. I mean, we'll go through the game, but Cherky's goal, just divine. His footwork.
Incredible goal, right? But I think if I remember rightly, I think this sort of stemmed from Nico O'Reilly as well, and we spoke about this about like people bang on about Max Dowman and stuff like that. Nico O'Reilly's incredible,
Yeah,
unbelievable.
I played a part in the winner as well. And that's the thing is I think Nico O'Reilly is just a tough player to pin down at the moment because he's a threat really unexpectedly. But I can't lie. I was so pleased that I'd given Ryan Cherky my Player of the Week previously because he's just phenomenal and he just I literally wrote down in my notes delicious individual goal because it was delicious.
Last week's podcast was the first podcast where we didn't have a delightful from either of us.
Well, that is not delightful.
And then, yeah, and trust me, I know, because I had to sit back through that for its entirety while I was editing it to try and find out all my little Nickelback references during that. And I've had to listen to that
That's on you. No
three,
sympathy.
three times. I've listened to this podcast in its entirety now. Which, why not? Because it's a really good podcast and we know what we're talking about. Um, yeah, go on, carry on with your summary.
Um, then pretty much straight away, Donnarumma had a howler. He thought he had more time than he actually had and took a heavy touch. And Havertz he just pounced on him. And it was excellent from Havertz. I mean, that's the type of performance you want from Havertz in that game. where you are just pouncing on every little potential opportunity. Because look, City ran that game in terms of possession. They took the game by the scruff of the neck, and it was a case of Arsenal taking the opportunities when they were, and they did have a few opportunities. For me, they didn't take enough of those opportunities that they had, but they definitely had some opportunities. And I, it just 1-1. We were back to all square, and it just couldn't have set up the second half better. And then 2-1 City, Haaland, Gabriel. I mean, look, I'm seeing a lot of Arsenal fans say it shouldn't have been allowed because it was a foul and all that. They had been like that all game. It was 50-50 the whole game, other than the headbutt, which should have been a red card, in my opinion. That was just how they were playing that game. And I have got no problem at all with a striker and a centre back going at each other like that. They both had a hold of each other. I don't want to see goals, in games like that. I don't want to see goals disallowed for that. I thought it was. I mean, Haaland just. I love his character so much. Did you see his side eye at the end of the game? He's so smug, and I just love it. I just love it.
He did. He made me laugh after the game because they was interviewing him, and he said the presenter asked him a question, and he said, "Did you say anything to Gabriel after you scored the goal?" And he went, "No, I don't do anything like that during the game." Or maybe I do sometimes. I was like, yeah, you do, mate. You absolutely said something to him, 100%. Right back to when, was it last season when he threw the ball at the back of Gabriel's head, or it might even be the season before, but we all know the moment I'm talking about. Now, yeah, I do like him. He's a cheeky fella. I'll just run you through the numbers. Man City, 1 point, I know we've spoke about this before with XG, but Man City 1.41, Arsenal with 1.53 XG, actually, they had the higher XG. Man City 5 shots on target, Arsenal 3. Interestingly, 4 offsides for Arsenal, while Man City dominated possession with 59% to 41. Uh, yeah. Oh, corners, which was surprising. Man City actually took the corners with 8-5.
But to be honest with you, mate, that goes with the flow of the game. I mean, for me, Arsenal had opportunities, and I think the one that springs to mind that wasn't taken was Eze's opportunity.
Yeah.
Um, but I felt like every time City went forward, there was a real, genuine threat, and that not just individually. I think sometimes when you watch football, not in the detail that I would say we watch it, because we run a podcast, so naturally we have to. You sort of you miss out on those goals that are individual and those goals that are team made. And I felt City at the moment they're pressing like a team. Um, Arsenal for me were just too reliant on those moments of individual brilliance, like Havertz making that decision to press Donnarumma. Do you know what I mean? It's I think it's healthy to rely on both, to be honest. And yeah, I felt the game sway towards City. I felt the game was right to give City the 3 points.
Well, we spoke about this before again with Arsenal sort of getting lucky during games in terms of like I always bring up the Wolves one where Arsenal won that game without even scoring a goal. It was two own goals from Wolves, and um, again here look Arsenal played well. They played better than I thought they were going to play against Man City. I thought they were going to go for the lower block and hit on the counter, but they didn't, and there was unlucky hitting the post and stuff like that. But ultimately, if it wasn't for a Donnarumma mistake, they wouldn't have scored again. So you know what I mean? They was fortunate enough in that way, and I'm going to say my little piece on it because I haven't got around to it yet. They were fortunate enough to still have 11 men on the pitch. How Gabriel stayed on that pitch, take the headbutt out of it alone. Like I think at one point, did he rip Haaland's shirt or his undershirt or something like that? And like the headbutt, or the headbutt. Okay, if Haaland goes down, it's a red card. All right,
Yeah,
or even that little contact. Let's all say it together now. If that was Romero, that would be a red.
red card. Exactly. Exactly. I cannot. It actually angered me at that time because why is it he can get away with that?
Well,
Why is it?
and this, I wanted to sort of mention this actually. From a Tottenham point of view, I'm not overly bothered if Romero goes at the end of the season, purely because he is refed differently. And I know that
Yeah,
sounds, and I mean, you might have to back me up here because it's going to sound a bit dodgy coming from a Tottenham fan, but I don't want to play on that pitch where referees, like, if that was Romero and Michael Oliver, he would already have the card in his hand. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Before anything even, he'd be straight up there. And he does get refereed differently. And I don't think it's just Gabriel. I think it's Arsenal in general. Or it does seem like they are favoured when it comes to refereeing decisions.
And it feels wrong as well when you consider the red card in the United game as and it annoyed me because that little hair tug or hair contact, if we want to call it that, is considered violent conduct, and that's why he got sent off. But literally ploughing your head towards somebody isn't considered violent conduct. For me, if you are going to turn around and go, the first one wasn't violent conduct, that one wasn't violent conduct, I'm happy with that because at least there's a level of consistency. How you can convince me that that contact on Monday night against Palace, against Leeds, sorry, for Martinez against Dominic Calvert-Lewin was more violent than Gabriel's show yesterday, genuinely, I don't think you could convince me of it. And it really annoys me because it has been done before. I think everyone knows if you even intend to push your head towards the opposition player, that's a red card. Literally, I've heard Gary Neville say it, where he's gone, oh, he slightly moved his neck there. He slightly moved his head. That's in danger of a red card. Like that's the thing is you just know not to do it because it is an immediate red card. And I think we've seen the immediate one that came to my head was Cunha. Cunha's been sent off for that before. Granted, he was at Wolves at that point, but he's been sent off for that. And you think, why is that not consistent? You know, why do we have to bang on about consistency so often? Why is he allowed to get away with that?
Do you know what? I don't know if PJ Mel have come out and said anything about it or why it wasn't. I don't. Like you said, maybe it was deemed non-violent or whatever, but you can't. Like, I think Haaland even said it himself. If he goes down, it's a red card. I'm like, go down then, mate. Go down. If that's what you have to.
Fine. That's what annoys me is everyone's, oh, we can't do that. We can't, it's just acting. We can't, I'm sorry, but if that is the difference between a decision going for you or against you, you're going to want your player to do it.
No, yeah, 100%. How it's not a red and how he stayed on the pitch is beyond me. I'm going to quickly run through the last 5 games for both teams, and then we're going to wrap it up. Man City, they've got Burnley, Everton, Brentford, Bournemouth, Palace, and Villa with an FA Cup tie in the mix as well. Arsenal have got Newcastle, Fulham, West Ham, Burnley, and Palace. So they've probably got the easier run, but then they've got a Champions League in the mix there as well. If Arsenal do lose this Champions League and they do lose the title, what does this spell for Arteta?
That's what it spells. You can't do it, mate. You can't do it. You cannot have that squad. You cannot have the talent, have players being considered for the Ballon d'Or. You can't do it and bottle it again. You just can't. And it just, they feel cursed under Arteta, even though we would all say there's certain things that favour them in terms of decisions. Do you know what I mean? We can't sit here and go, they're unlucky, because I feel like there's so many times where we've all gone, how's that been given for Arsenal? How's that been given for Arsenal and not been given for such and such? Do you know what I mean? I think they are definitely in danger of. I mean, poor Rice at the end. Oh, I have such a soft spot for him. At the end of the game, he sat there. It's not over. It's not over. I'm like, you deserve better. Go somewhere else. Go and win the Champions League. Go somewhere else, baby. You just need to get out of there. And good God, would I have a party if he did. Yeah, they're in danger of losing those type of players because they cannot have gone through this. I mean, oh, they bottled it what 4 times in a row if they bottle this one, and this one will somehow feel the worst.
Mm, Liverpool are holding talks with Diamande.
Oh,
Sorry, little as a potential Salah replacement. Little breaking news for you there. Yeah, well, it's almost as if Man City are losing a midfielder this season. There's a gap. There's a gap, Grace.
this is what I mean. This is what I mean. Come to City.
Uh,
West Ham, Chester City. I love it. A tie. West Ham, Chester City.
yes or no? Have Man City won the league?
Say that again. Sorry.
Yes or no? Have Man City won the league?
Oh, it's far from done, but I'm going to sit here and say yes just to anger the Arsenal fans.
Brilliant. Grace, give me your player of the week.
Oh, I had a few actually. Okay, you're going to go Morgan Gibbs White, I'm
Ah,
assuming. You
that's
are. I
2 weeks in
feel
a
it.
row you've done this now. I wasn't going to. I wasn't going to. I was going to give it to Xavi. But after that, yeah, after the performance, and he absolutely ran the show for Forest, I've got to give it to Morgan Gibbs White.
So I'm going to be different because I had two down, and I was sure you were going to go for one of them. I'm going to go Bernardo Silva because I thought he was a monster. I thought, I mean, some of his tackles. I mean, did you see his defensive display at points? I mean, it was just unbelievable. That man doesn't understand his stature and his height and his physicality because he doesn't give a shit. He just does what needs to be done, and 100% deserves my player of the week just purely because he was a nuisance. And I love the fella, love him.
Yeah, fair enough. I'm gonna have to come out with some from the bag next week, aren't I, for you to not get this right now. It's predictable. Um, game of the week.
Um, I am gonna go City versus Arsenal just purely because of the what was riding on it. That was really significant. I loved the Villa Bournemouth game, and had it been earlier in the season, I probably would have said Villa Bournemouth. But for me, the pressure that was surrounding that City Arsenal game has to be City Arsenal.
Yeah, I'm still gonna go with Villa Sunderland. Uh, I think yeah, like you said with Man City Arsenal, there was more riding on it. It was a great game to watch. It was a better game than I was expecting. But purely for the quality of goals alone, I'm going to have to go with Villa Sunderland. If it was 4-3 and there was all little tap-ins or defensive mistakes, I'd be going with Man City. But the quality of goals from that game, it takes the edge for me.
Fair enough, totally understandable.
And our little segment where you break down goal of the week will be coming to YouTube at some point. What is your goal of the week this week, Chris?
Haven't fully decided yet. I think I'm gonna go with oh. Oh, I haven't fully decided. There's a few in the running. A few in the running. I might go for Cunha. I might go for Cunha's goal against Chelsea.
Oh, I thought you was going to go with Xavi Simons, to be fair.
Do you know what it is? I don't. I really like that Xavi Simons goal, and there's certain individual goals. God, there's loads of individual goals that I could go for this week. There was something about that Cunha, Fernandez's impact in it. There was something about the way in which they pressed and just the impact of other players around them. I just want to highlight it essentially.
No, fair enough. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is another week of Beyond the Whistle all wrapped up. There is still games midweek as we have double fixtures this week, so keep your eye out on them, and I'm sure we'll cover them at some point anyway. Grace, it's been another very fantastic podcast. If you're not following us already, hit the follow button, hit the bell, hit whatever it is you're listening to, and go follow Grace on Grace Wild Football. And also follow the page that presents this podcast, GME Media. Grace, it's been another fantastic podcast. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Yeah, it's been a joy, and wish me luck tonight because I am going to be extremely nervous. So
I,
yeah,
I won't be doing that. Thank you, Grace, and we'll see you next week.
see you next week.
Bye bye.